Hello my dear students, welcome to lecture 3 of pharmaceutical packaging. In lecture 3 we will study different packaging formats that are used in pharmaceutical industry, and then we will study FDA approach to package design. So first let's see what is packaging format. Pharmaceutical companies purchase a packaging format for the packaging of pharmaceutical formulation which is best fit for their packaging purpose. And we have already discussed the importance of packaging in previous lecture, and selecting right format is very essential as medicines are packed in these packages, and with the right materials and design of packages, the pharmaceutical packaging can protect the product or a drug from harmful environmental conditions and can give protection from damage during transport and delivery. So we have also seen the different types of packaging materials in our previous lecture, and these different types of packaging material comes together and they make up the packaging formats, or you can say packaging system. And this packaging is available in different formats or types depending on the product size, shape and the method of closure. So the pharmaceutical packages is composed of containers and closures, and container is the device which holds the drug and it is in direct contact with the drug at all the times. So now let us see the packaging formats for containers. So according to the method of closure and use, the packaging formats for containers are classified as well-closed containers, airtight containers, hermetically sealed containers, light resistant containers, single dose containers, multiple dose containers and aerosol containers. And according to the shape of the container, the packaging format for containers include glass or polythene bottles, dropper bottles, collapsible tubes, ampoules, vials, polythene packets for intravenous fluid, then polythene or glass bottle for intravenous fluids, and aerosol containers. Now let us study all these packaging formats one by one. Well closed containers. These containers protect the contents of the container from contamination and loss during transportation, handling, storage and sale. So it protects the product from contamination from unwanted foreign materials. Then the airtight container, they have the airtight seal or closing, and these containers protect the product from air, dust and moisture. And these airtight seal containers are used for injectables, whereas the airtight closed containers are used for storage of products other than injectables. Then these airtight containers are impermeable to solid, liquid and gases during the normal storage and use. And if you want to open the container more than one time, then it must remain in airtight conditions. Hermetically sealed containers. Hermetically sealed container is the one which doesn't allow the air and other gases to pass through it, and it is intended to protect the product from the entry of microorganisms. And basically it is used to protect the product against the water vapor and foreign bodies. Uh, for example, glass ampoules. Then the light resistant container, they are used to protect the drug which undergo decomposition in the presence of light, and such drugs may be enclosed in amber colored bottle or opaque container. So some drugs are light sensitive. In presence of light, they tend to form the new compounds. So to protect the to protect its degradation from the light, the dark colored or amber colored bottle or containers are used. Single dose containers. Single dose containers hold the product that are intended for its single use. The example of single dose container is glass ampoule. Then the multi-dose container is a packing which holds number of doses. Like for example, multiple doses vial or glass or plastic tablet bottles. Then aerosol container is a device that holds a substance under pressure and releases it as a fine spray by means of propellant gas. And these containers must be strong enough to withstand the pressure which is evolved inside the container at the time of use of the preparation. For solid dosage form, the packaging formats for containers include tamper-evident containers, strip packages, blister packages, and child-resistant containers. So this tamper resistant or tamper evident containers, so this tamper resistant package is provided with an indicator or barrier, so that if this indicator or barrier is broken, the buyer immediately gets evidence that the product has been opened or tampered. And this tamper resistant packaging is designed to resist the access to the product contained within the package. So, in pharmaceuticals, this tamper-resistant packaging is very important as it provides security throughout the supply chain and purchase by the consumer. Like, for example, the blister package that is sealed with the foil. If the foil seal is damaged, then it is very easy to identify. Then the foil or packaging materials have the warning statement. You must have seen on various packaging materials there are warning statement like do not use if the seal is broken or missing. So these warning statements are present in the packaging materials to notify the consumer to check for the intactness of the seal and not to use if the seal is broken. Then next, child resistant containers. So this strip and blister packages, we are well aware of these type of packaging materials. Then child resistant containers, it is used to reduce the risk of children ingesting hazardous materials, and this is accomplished by using special safety caps. So this child resistant container, they have two dissimilar motion for opening, which is made to be difficult to open. And this child resistant packaging, like for example child resistant blister packaging, it is made up of multi-layers, multi-layer packing like aluminum, PVC, films and foil, and this makes the packaging harder to open for children, but adult can easily open the package. So there is a special locking mechanism of the flap which prevents the children from to get access to the blister packaging. For semi-solid dosage form, the packaging formats include metallic collapsible tubes and plastic containers. So the semi-solid dosage form like ointments, creams, they are packed in metallic collapsible tubes, and the plastic containers are used for packaging of creams. Now we will study the packaging formats for the containers according to their shapes. So according to the shape, the container is classified as glass or polythene bottles, and the solid dosage form like powder, capsules, tablets, they are packed in wide mouth bottles, and to absorb the moisture, silica gel bags are placed inside the bottle. Then formulations like gargles, mouthwashes, mixtures, elixirs, they are packed in narrow mouth bottle which are less viscous, and the highly viscous liquids like suspensions, they are packed in wide mouth bottles. Then the liquid preparations for external uses like lotion and liniments, they are packed in colored fluted bottles to distinguish from the preparations that are meant for internal use. Dropper bottles. So these dropper bottles are the plastic or glass bottles which is fitted with a dropper, and it is used for dispensing a small amount of liquid. Then preparations like eye drops, ear drops, nasal drops are dispensed in these type of bottles, and for dispensing eye drops, ear drops and nasal drops, the amber colored glass bottles are preferred. So it is a single piece of squeezable container having an inbuilt dropper. Then collapsible tubes. Collapsible tubes are the squeezable tubes, and the preparations like ointments, paste, gels, creams are packed in plastic or metal tubes. Ampules. Ampule is a sealed glass container containing an injectable preparation, and it is for one-time use only, and it contains the measured quantity of drug that is ready for injecting. So these ampules are sealed by melting the top of the glass in an open flame and then pulling the top off. So it is usually made up of neutral glass having the low melting point so that it can be heat sealed at low temperature also. Then vials. Vial is a small glass bottle which is used to store medication in liquid form. But even powders and solid preparations can be stored in vials. And this vial is closed with a rubber closure, And usually there are single dose vials, usually there are single use vials which is used for parenteral administration. The needle is passed through the rubber closure and the drug is drawn out and then injected to patient, and then this rubber plug it automatically seals the hole. And there are multi-dose vials also for parenteral administration, and it contains more than one dose of medication. And since these multi-dose vials are to be opened for more than one time, it contains antimicrobial preservative to avoid the contamination of bacteria. Polythene packets and glass bottles for infusion or intravenous fluid. So these polythene packets and glass bottles are used to store and pack the intravenous or infusion fluid for the purpose of intravenous therapy. And these intravenous fluids, it gets delivered directly into a vein through drip from the packets and bottles that is connected to an intravenous line. So these were the packaging formats of containers according to their shapes. Now we will study packaging formats for the closures. Closures are the devices that is used to close or seal the container, and it doesn't allow any substance to enter the container, and it also protects in expelling the contents of the container. And there are five basic designs of this closure, like for example the threaded screw cap, then lug cap, crown cap, roll-on closures, and pilfer proof caps. So now let us study all these type of closures one by one. Threaded screw cap. This threaded screw cap or closure is the most common type of closure which is used for bottles, jars and tubes, and this screw cap is commonly made up of metal and plastic, and this screw cap it provides physical and chemical protection to the contents of the container, and the metal is usually made up of tin plate and aluminium, and in case of plastics the thermoplastic and thermosetting types of materials are used. Then so this screw cap, threaded screw cap, it is placed on the neck of the container, and its threads engage with the corresponding threads molded on the neck of the bottle. So for your better understanding, I have put an image of this threaded screw cap so that you can easily understand by reading the slide. Then a liner in the cap seals the opening of the container. Then the next type is lug cap. So this lug cap are a type of metal cap or closure, and it is very much similar to the threaded screw cap. It operates at the same principle, just that unlike the continuous thread in screw cap, in lug caps there are lugs, means there is interrupted thread on glass finish, means the lugs they have to be twisted a half turn only to close, and these type of caps are a type of vacuum seals. So they are also known as vacuum caps, and they are used to protect the oxygen sensitive products. And these type of caps are usually found in food and beverages. Then in pharmaceuticals they are found on metal container. Then next is the crown cap. Crown cap or seal, it is a first form of bottle cap, and it is an airtight metal seal which is crimped on the top of the most beverages bottles. Then in pharmaceuticals they are used on bottles containing laxatives and other liquid products that are designed for complete consumption all at once after opening the bottle. Roll-on closures. So these roll-on closures are obtained as a threadless shell, means the cap of the roll-on cap it doesn't have threading section. But when these cap or shells they are placed on the glass bottles, and when they are pressed, it automatically gets fitted into the glass bottle on the neck of the glass bottle. Why? Because the neck of the glass bottle is already threaded. So when we place these roll-on caps on the glass bottle, and when we press it, it gets automatically fitted on the neck of the glass bottle. Pilfer proof caps. So these pilfer-proof closures are the tamper evident, and they have the tear of ring at the bottom, and when the container is opened for the very first time it gets separated. Closure liners. So this closure liner is defined as any material that is inserted in a cap to effect a seal between the closure and the container. So these liners they are used for moisture barrier, for chemical resistance, and to prevent the leakage. And once the liner is removed, it cannot be reapplied to the container. So it is a tamper evident, and it creates an airtight seal, and it is loaded in between the cap and the bottle, and its primary function is to offer proper sealing of the product. These are the packaging formats for tamper-resistant packagings, and the packages that are approved by FDA as tamper-resistant packaging systems are film wrappers, blister and strip pack, bubble pack, then shrink seals, foils, paper or plastic pouches, breakable and tear-away caps, sealed tubes, bottle and tape seals, and seal cartons. So this is the packaging format of tamper-resistant packagings. Now we will start with new topic, that is Food and Drug Administration approach to package design. So before starting, first let us see what is this FDA. So this US Food and Drug Administration is the government agency that is responsible for reviewing, approving and regulating medical products, including pharmaceutical drugs and medical devices. So this FDA is an agency within the US Department of Health and Human Services, and this FDA is responsible for protecting the public health by ensuring the safety, efficacy and security of pharmaceutical drugs, products and medical devices. So basically this FDA, it enforces the guidelines, it provides the guidelines for manufacturer to ensure the safety and effectiveness of medications. Means this FDA provides certain guidelines like how to conduct the manufacturing process, what GMP regulations are to be followed. So this FDA provides all the details of these guidelines, and every pharmaceutical industry should follow these guidelines, and FDA grants an approval if all these guidelines are followed, and after ensuring the safety and effectiveness of products, then only the FDA grants an approval. So to get the FDA approval, the drug manufacturer should conduct the lab, animal and human clinical testing, and all this testing should be done as per the guidelines. And after completion of testing, the data is submitted to the FDA. The FDA then reviews the data and gives its decision of approval or non-approval depending on the results, depending if the all the if, depending if all the procedures were conducted as per the guidelines, as per the regulations. So depending on all that criteria, the FDA gives its decision of approval or non-approval. So likewise, the FDA also have guidelines on packaging of pharmaceuticals, and the packaging should be carried out taking into consideration all its applicable packaging guidelines. So now let us see the guidelines that are followed for packaging of pharmaceuticals, or you can say the FDA approach to package design. As per the FDA recommendations or guidelines, the containers, closures and other component parts of drug packages should be suitable for their intended use and must not be reactive, additive or absorptive to an extent that the identity, strength, quality or purity of the drug will be affected. Means the containers and closures and all the packaging materials that is associated with that drug should be suitable. Like ointments and creams are the suitable container for packaging of ointments and cream is the collapsible tubes. Then for parenteral preparation, samples and vials are used. So the containers and closures that are used to pack the pharmaceutical formulation should be the suitable one. and these packaging materials should not affect the identity, strength, quality, and purity of the drug. Then the next guideline says that as manufacturers of pharmaceutical products, pharmaceutical executives must know the appropriate guidelines governing the manufacture of packaging and labeling. Means the people who are involved in packaging operations should be well trained and should be well aware of all the procedure and guidelines that are to be followed for packaging of pharmaceuticals. There shall be written procedures describing in sufficient detail the receipt, identification, storage, handling, sampling, examination and testing of labeling and packaging materials, and such written procedures shall be followed. Means the guideline states that the pharmaceutical industry or the packaging department should have written documented procedure either in the SOP form, means either in the standard operating procedure form, or there should be protocols wherein the detailed procedure is mentioned on how to receive the packaging materials, then what all documents needs to be checked and verified, then how to check and analyze the conditions in which the packaging materials and labels are received, then how to identify the packaging materials, how to store, sample, examine and test the label and packaging materials. So all these things should be there in a written documented form, and the written procedure should be followed. Then the next guideline states that the labeling and packaging materials shall be representatively sampled and examined or tested upon receipt and before use in packaging or labeling of a drug product. Means after the receipt of packaging and labeling materials, it should be sampled and tested before it is used in packaging and labeling operations. Like for example, glass is received as a packaging material, then all the tests related to glass like water attack test, leakage test, chemical resistant test, so all these applicable tests should be checked before it is used for packaging of pharmaceutical formulations. So like different packaging materials have different tests. So all the quality control tests related to that packaging material should be performed before they are used in packaging operations. Then any labeling or packaging materials meeting appropriate written specifications may be approved and released for use, and any labeling or packaging materials that do not meet such specifications shall be rejected to prevent their use in operations for which they are unsuitable. Means after performing all the tests, if its results are within specifications, if it is meeting the guidelines, then they are accepted, approved and released for use. But if the test or if the results are not complying with the specifications, then that packaging material will be rejected and it will be disapproved. So all the parameters should be checked, and all the parameters should be as per the written protocols, and all the testing should be within the specifications. Then only the shipment will be approved and released for further use. Then the guideline states that the record shall be maintained for each shipment received. So the records for each shipment received should be maintained, and the record should carry all the information related to that particular shipment, including its testing and whether it is accepted or rejected. The next guideline states that there should be proper segregation of label and packaging materials. Means the labels and packaging materials for each different drug product, strength, dosage form, quantity should be stored separately to prevent the mix-ups, and there should be proper identification number on it, and access to the storage area should be given to authorized personnel only. So there should be proper segregation of label and packaging materials that are to be used for different drug products having different strength, quantity, etc. The guideline states that there should be control procedures for issuance of label and correctness of label, and all the packaging and labeling, all the packages and labels should carry identification details and should be properly inspected and examined, and results of all these inspections and examinations should be documented in batch production record. So the guideline states that the packaging department should have the documented procedure design to ensure that the correct packaging material and correct labels are used for that particular dosage form. And all the packages and labels should have a name or identifying code, batch number of the product, and storage conditions. And after the packaging and labeling operations are finished, the QA person should examine and inspect that to ensure that the correct label and correct packaging material is used for that particular finished product. And the results and details of all this examination should be recorded in batch production or control records. Use of appropriate electronic or electromechanical or visual inspection or automated technique should be adopted by the packaging department or pharmaceutical industry to conduct 100% examination of correct packaging and labeling after completion of finishing operations. So here the guideline states that in a pharmaceutical industry, the packaging department should have a packing system that is equipped with electronic or machine vision to check and verify the package and to ensure that the products delivered to market is defect free. So at the end of this lecture, I will show you one video of blister packing system that is equipped with machine vision, and I will show you with the help of video how this machine inspects the cracks on a tablet, or if there is any absence of tablet in the cavity of the blister. So I will show you how this machine inspects and removes the defects in the packaging material automatically from the line, so that you will have a more clear idea about this electronic or automated technique. Then if the visual inspections are conducted, then such examination should be performed by one person and independently verified by the second person. Then the guideline states that the printers should be monitored to make certain that the print matches with that specified in the batch record. Now this batch packing records, it contains all the information related to packaging and labeling, and when these labels are printed, the information that is printed on the label should be matched with that mentioned in the batch packing records. So this should be properly monitored. So all the information which is there in the labels should be in accordance with the batch packing record. Then the destruction of obsolete or outdated labels and other packing materials. So the labels and packing materials that are not in use or that are out of date should be destructed to prevent its mix up with other label and packing materials in use, and also to avoid its misuse. All over the counter drugs should be in tamper evident packaging, and these packages should have at least one barrier to entry that could indicate to consumer whether someone tampered with the drug. And the barrier should have an identifying characteristic such as identifying name or logo, and the labeling should include a prominent statement that identifies the tamper evident features, like do not use if the seal is broken or missing. Guidelines for finishing operations. Packages and labeled drugs should be examined during finishing operations to ensure that packages and containers have the correct labeling, and a sample of packaging should be collected and visually inspected, and the results should be recorded in the batch control or packing records. So after the packaging and labeling operations are done, the packages and labeled drugs are examined during the finishing operations to check the correctness of label and packages. So a random sample of packages are collected and they are visually inspected, and the results are recorded in the batch packing records. Then the drug packaging should also have an appropriate expiration date as determined by the stability testing.